Yes, Honorable Junet.
Shungwa. Mr. Speaker, I wish to seek your indulgence, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sometimes back, I had requested a communication from you on matters relating on the bicameral parliament, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Shungwa, Mr. Speaker, as you are aware that there were issues that were raised and our colleagues in the Senate went to court.
Order. Honorable Bukoso, take your seat.
Mr. Speaker, sometimes back, I had requested a communication from you.
It is actually pending.
It's pending, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, on a judgment that was made by the Supreme Court concerning the conduct of the bicameral system, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that communication or that ruling, how you want to describe it, will be very important to us, Mr. Speaker, because, Mr. Speaker, this is a matter that has been pending since the new constitution, since we had a National Assembly and the Senate, Mr. Speaker. People encroaching on other people's work and territory, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even after the judgment of the Supreme Court, it's in bad faith for the Senate to go back again to the Supreme Court so that the Supreme Court can review their judgment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that is really, really in bad faith, because it is not the National Assembly that went to court. It is the Senate that went to court. They went to the High Court, they went to the Court of Appeal, and they ended up in the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court did a judgment, Mr. Speaker. Now again, the Senate to go back to the Supreme Court so that the Supreme Court can review their judgment, Mr. Speaker, is really in bad taste and in bad faith, Mr. Speaker. If the Constitution has given you certain mandate and you are not satisfied with it, Mr. Speaker, the honorable thing to do is in the next election, you run for a seat that you think has the powers that you need, Mr. Speaker. You run as a member of National Assembly. You don't encroach on other people's constitutional mandate, Mr. Speaker. Because even us, as National Assembly, there are functions that we cannot do that belongs to the Senate. And they're very clear, Mr. Speaker. And there are functions that belong to the National Assembly. So if you feel, and there are functions that belong to governors, I cannot now masquerade as a governor. I can only be a member of the National Assembly. So, Mr. Speaker, the Constitution is very clear. And to make it even better, there was a judgment from the Supreme Court that demarcated the boundaries of the two houses, Mr. Speaker, that money bill can originate only from the National Assembly. This and this can only be done by the National Assembly. Counties, bills that concern counties, there must be consultation between the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Speaker of the Senate. There's clarity now, Mr. Speaker, through that judgment. But when I was told the other day, Mr. Speaker, the Senate has filed another case, a petition in the Supreme Court, so that the Supreme Court can review that judgment, Mr. Speaker, I really felt that is in bad taste. That is undermining the operations of the Parliament as a whole, not only as the Senate, Mr. Speaker. And if a senator feels that the Senate does not have enough work or does not have enough power, then come where power is. Mr. Speaker, some of the jurisdictions in the world, the Senate only sits quarterly. 3 months, they sit only once to look at issues that concern, elderly people and, this kind of things, Mr. Speaker. So I don't want to go that direction, Mr. Speaker, but what I want to say is that let us stick to the judgment of the Supreme Court, Mr. Speaker, and I request you, many of our members here have not read the judgment, or maybe they have not taken time to go through it, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to beseech you so that you can condense it in few words, the judgment, so that we know next time we don't encroach to what belongs to all the people and what belongs to the youth, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, majority.
Honorable Speaker, let me join the leader of minority in expressing concern over that issue. But Honorable Speaker, I want to take a different trajectory because we have been through this since the advent of the bicameral parliament after the 2010 constitution in 2013. And fortunately, myself and Honorable Junet were in that first parliament of the bicameral parliament post the 2010 constitution. Honorable Speaker, this is an issue that every house, every parliament, since the 11th parliament, has had to deal with. But I must congratulate you, Honorable Speaker, and the current Speaker of the Senate, because at least in this 13th parliament, you have endeavored to make sure that there isn't too much friction between the two houses. But clearly, there are forces still within the institution of parliament that do not want peace. The Honorable Junet is saying they are dark forces, and they must be very dark forces, Honorable Speaker, that do not want peace. Honorable Speaker, there is a thing that circulates on social media where someone says, I don't want peace. And it looks like there are people within this institution of parliament, especially the other house, who do not want peace between the bicameral houses of parliament. Honorable Speaker, I was saying I want to take a different trajectory because you sit at a different place from the Speaker of the Senate. You are the chair of the Parliamentary Service Commission. Being the chair of the Parliamentary Service Commission, Honorable Speaker, and having a bigger representation from this house in the Parliamentary Service Commission, you stand at a pivotal place to ensure that we do not spend any more resources prosecuting cases in court over issues that as leaders we can settle amicably, Honorable Speaker. Because it makes no point for taxpayers' money that has been appropriated by this House to the Parliamentary Service Commission to be expended on lawyers in court to go and review a matter that was already resolved by the Supreme Court, Honorable Speaker. If there is no greater wastage of public resources, I do not know what we would call this, Honorable Speaker. And I want to call on you, Honorable Speaker, as the chair of the Parliamentary Service Commission, to call to order the accounting officer in the Senate, Honorable Speaker, to ensure that no public resources are expended. If senators want a review of that judgment by the Supreme Court, let them contribute from their salaries, Honorable Speaker, because the provisions of Article 109, 110, and 111 of the Constitution, all the way to 114 on money bills, Honorable Speaker, are so explicit that you do not need to have gone to any law school. I have never been to law school, Honorable Speaker. I only studied commercial law and the law of tort when I was doing my commercial law in my CPA studies.
You studied rudimentary law.
Let me not call it rudimentary law, Honorable Speaker. At least I studied some commercial law, basic law. And yeah, the basic elements of law, Honorable Speaker, you do not need to be a lawyer to be able to interpret Article 109, 110, 111, and 114 of our Constitution. How many bills have we returned, Honorable Speaker, from this House because they have come with a money bill effect, contrary to the provisions of Article 109 and 114 of our Constitution? Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with the minority leader. As much as we are waiting for your communication on that matter, please, as the chair of the Parliamentary Service Commission, move the Parliamentary Service Commission to embargo any expenditure on matters to do with court cases between the Senate and the National Assembly. If that is not possible, Honorable Speaker, from your position as chair of the Parliamentary Service Commission, we would stand guided because we appropriate money to the Commission. We can do what we need to do at budget making process, even as we go to the supplementary budget, to make sure that we do not appropriate resources to be spent in court on lawyers, Honorable Speaker, over things that we can resolve here. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Robert, I don't want to escalate this. I want it. Okay, I'll give you